Hey, everybody. Listen, we're going to watch The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, this is a good, I don't know if this is a good season or not, but I'm liking the cast on this season. But let's go ahead and watch this latest episode, and then we're going to chit chat. Y'all get ready, buckle your seats. You are not going to believe what my commentary on this is going to be, but let's jump into it. Let's get started.
The judge's ruling was to unseal our divorce case. Ralph did not turn over all of his financial documents. Is this a joke?
I know it's hard, but my friendship.
I really hate when the circle breaks up friendships.
Now, I like Charles and Angela, and let me tell you why. Charles is this type of guy that, though he's strong in his opinions and his stance, he keeps Angela in a right position. Now, let me tell you, okay? So, as a married woman, I know a lot of times it's hard for people to understand when a husband corrects their wife. And sometimes some husbands can correct their wives rather harshly, but the real thing is when you have a guy like Charles, who I really like Charles. I think Charles is a great guy. Listen, he cooks, he cleans, he gives his wife great advice. He holds her accountable. He helps her stay fit. Charles is to me, he's a rough type of guy, but he's a good guy. He's going to make sure that his wife, when she comes to him about situations, about other people, he's going to make sure he lets her know, listen, what was your wrong in this? Because he wants to make sure that his wife is corrected also. And I love this. He's not just looking at things one-sided. And every good woman needs a good man like Charles to keep them in check. Because there's a whole bunch of women out here. Thank you, Holy Spirit. There's a whole bunch of women out here that are out here telling every other girl's wrong, but are not holding that mirror to their own face. But Charles is making sure that Angela stays in the mirror because he wants his wife to know the wrong that she does too. This stuff that these women are going through has a lot to do with the husbands as well, because the women go out, they bring all this mess back to the husband. And the husbands have to deal with it. The husbands have to deal with the wives being unhappy. The husbands have to deal with the wives being angry. The husbands have to deal with the wives being sad. The husbands have to deal with the social media and the people talking and the streets be talking. And Atlanta is a small place, so a lot of these people run in the same circles. So all these friends are talking. And so there's a lot that the men have to deal with also. So I like when the men are like, listen, wife, you're not the only one. They're not the only one that did something wrong. You have to check yourself too. And I'm glad to see men like Charles on the platform that are doing that. They need to do that. We need more Charleses in Atlanta and on the Housewives of Atlanta. We need more of this. And I like how Angela, she's not, we won't say that she's overly submissive, but she's wise enough to know how to keep her submission for her husband at a place where she's not the underneath him. She's still standing toe to toe and side with him. And she's still able to allow him to be that man of the house, even when she feels as though, hey, you could have stayed on my side a little more, so forth. But Charles is like, listen, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you're right, you're right. But I like how their relationship is. I like it. I like it. Let me tell y'all. Now, I don't know what's going on off camera, but on camera, I like it. Let's go back and see what else is going on.
That's not true.
No, it's not.
I'm giving him an out. He don't even understand that I'm giving him an out.
I don't want
Listen
no out.
to what I'm saying.
I listen to you.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I don't need an out.
Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss.
Why do you need a kiss? Really?
Y'all, when the producer asked Charles, do you love Angela? And he was like, next question or something to the two. Charles, I just gave you this whole scene of I love Charles. Charles is a good guy. But he's like, don't want to answer the question when the producer says, do you love Angela? Charles. Why wouldn't a man say on camera, of a show that his wife is a part of, why wouldn't he say, yes, I love my wife. Of course I love my wife. Something ain't right in the cookie dough. Charles, I'm gonna have to keep watching you. But Angela chuckled it off. Charles didn't answer the question. And so we're gonna chuckle it off too. Let's go on to this next scene. All right, so Angela talking about her and her sister's relationship. Now, there's a lot of this going on. Listen, in personal lives and people who are not celebrities and as well as celebrities, there's a lot of celebrities that are dealing with family drama. And for Angela to come on a public platform and speak about the relationship issues that she's having with her sister, I love, love, love these kind of scenes in these reality shows because it shows the realness. She also is talking about in this particular scene how she has helped her sister and the very home that her sister is living in. Her sister is like not being appreciative of what Angela has done for her. And it's really interesting when I see a lot of these shows and these celebrities and in personal lives because I deal with a lot of people that have issues in their personal life and we just try and talk and communicate with them to try and help them through it. But there's always this issue where one person feels as though they're being taken advantage of and not appreciated. And the other person feels as though that person is supposed to do that for them. They have an obligation to do that for them simply because they are in a wealthy bracket, tax bracket as far as finances. But I want to say this to a lot of you. Just because your sibling is wealthy or marries into wealth, it does not mean that they have to take care of you. That's their life and their lifestyle. So many family members, if they would just appreciate what their loved ones do, whether it's finances, whether it's just emotional, whatever it is, if they would appreciate it without expectation of it, I think that'll save a lot of these relationships. Because so many times these relationships, families and siblings and loved ones, they end because of simple miscommunication or non-communication, or the communication is not appropriate. And so a lot of these people are out here missing their loved ones, not being able to communicate with their loved ones simply because they don't know how to have the real hard conversations in a loving way where everybody can learn from it. It's not Angela's responsibility to take care of her family. It's not her obligation. It's her heartfelt desire to do it, but it's not an obligation for her to do it. And so people have to understand that. Her husband worked and was very successful in his careers, very successful in his car washes and his businesses and the businesses that he chose to do. That's his hard work. And so if Angela is out here and she's doing the real estate with the home, she's putting the time in, putting the work in for this real estate, to sell this real estate, to flip these homes, that's her hard work. So whatever she's doing for the family, they should be appreciative and loving to her and respect her, not just because she's giving it, but because she's able to give it and she chooses to. She doesn't have to. It makes me real sad when family members feel as though their loved ones are obligated to take care of them. Cedric the Entertainer says something similar where his family got to the point where they just felt as though that he was supposed to take care of them simply because he was wealthy. And he had to let them know, listen, it's not an obligation of his. And we got to all learn that, you guys. We got to all learn that. If you want great wealth, you're going to have to get out there and get yours, just like Charles and Angela got theirs. Mm, mm, mm. Now, see, Charles is having a conversation with his wife. And Charles is right. Charles is like, listen, your family going to have to learn how to hit the wall. They're going to have to learn how to get out here and do it on their own. Angela's like, but that's your sister. Charles is like, it don't matter. Absolutely right, Charles. Absolutely right. Listen, if you hand them out something, you hand them out something, but that's because you choose to do it, not because you want to be obligated to do it or feel as though you're going to drain yourself emotionally and financially over grown people, well-bodied, well-able people. I'm not trying to be mean or nasty. I'm just stating facts. Y'all got to stop this. If you want the great wealth, go to Angela and say, listen, let me be a partner with you. Let me go out there and help you with some of these homes. What can I do to help with some of this real estate? What can I do to be a partner, not just a moocher? Charles is right. Charles is right. That point, Charles is right, y'all. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I mean, with a female, yeah.
that's who else?
Oh, okay.
Charles, how my
Okay, y'all, we come to the scene with Miss Bailey. All right, Cynthia Bailey, let's see what you got, girl. Doesn't she look gorgeous? Cynthia, listen, she looks good. Well, that first scene, the first episode of this new season, Cynthia, it was a little off. It was a little off, the look and everything. But she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Let's see what Cynthia got to say, y'all. Come on, Cynthia. All right, so in walks Shamia. Now, let me tell y'all this. I love Shamia's scenes and storyline in this season. Now, I'm so glad that Shamia got a peach. She's out here in these streets, y'all. She's out here. She is no longer a friend of the show. She actually is the show this season. She came in strong. She's telling us about her music, her singing, also her beautiful babies, and her wanting to have more children. We got introduced to her handsome husband, learned about his career and the way he makes his wealth and his money with his AC company for, commercial buildings and all that. We learned about all that. We saw her beautiful gift that he gave her. We saw the beautiful home. Shamia. She is like this season's fan favorite. But when a new queen comes into the courtyard, the old queens get a little mad. So Porsha and Shamia, who were besties, I'm not sure if they still besties, are now having issues with one another. And that happens in real life, real life. When your friend who used to be the underdog now becomes the queen, there's usually drama in the kingdom. Let's go ahead and see what's going on with Shamia and Miss Bailey. Now, Shamia's hurt because of her relationship with Porsha. It has taken a really, really bad turn in their relationship. And she's talking to Cynthia about all of this, and she's sad, and she's kind of like she's blindsided about all of this. And it's really sad when your friend does things behind your back and it comes to your light and you start seeing what's happened. But we also have to understand this, you guys. When we realize that our friends have been doing something to us that's not very friendly, you now have to make a choice how you're going to go forward in that relationship, in that friendship relationship. So many times people will see the obvious, they'll ignore it, let it go, and they end up getting hurt even more in the future. What Shamia is dealing with Porsha is real life stuff. A lot of us deal with it. When you see the realness in people, you have to decide how you're going to move forward. And that's kind of what Shamia is dealing with right now. She thought Porsha was this real friend, not any jealousy or anything, but she's quickly finding out that there's a lot more to this friendship that she did not know. And now that it's coming to light, she's having to make this heartfelt decision as to how does she go forward. Remember, they were friends I think in high school. They've been friends for way before the show. So now that Shamia has this opportunity where she is now a peach holder, she's a main cast member on this show, it would have been great to see her and Porsha celebrating, having good times, these great scenes together as besties. But what we're ending up seeing is jealousy, strife. And that's not what we were expecting. But unfortunately, it is showing us real life, real life, real life.
Even when I was at the lowest with one of the ladies in the group, no matter what she did, no matter how she dragged me, I always just gave her love.
And that's
because that's what I do.
insane. And I think that's the problem.
Well, the ladies go bowling, and of course, Porsha starts to twerking. These ladies in Atlanta over here, y'all, some of us are trying to get rid of some of this backside, but there's some women, a lot of women in Atlanta that keep adding on to it, adding on. I just don't understand. I just be thinking about how all that fit on the toilet. It's just too much. I just, well, if you like it, honey, you like it. I can't even say that I love it. I cannot. Do y'all see Angela's body? My goodness, see, this is what Mary and Charles can do. Oh my goodness. This girl, lady, grown lady, I should say. This body is worth the workout. I need to get in the gym. After I'm watching Angela with this great body that she has, the abs, the girl. Thank you, Angela. Thank you. What y'all think about Angela's body? Let me know in the comment section what y'all think about her body. She may not be able to hold them wigs on right, and the glue might be slipping with the sweat and all that. But she got this body right. She got this body all the way together. Angela, yes, girl, I need your workout routine. And what do you eat, girl? I need all of that. So Portia is talking to Cynthia and Angela about her daughter PJ, and she has to bring up to PJ about the divorce. And Portia saying now PJ is asking where's her pop and where's her dad and so forth. And Portia now has to have this conversation with her. A lot of people deal with this whole thing, and each one deals with it in their own individual way. But I'm glad that Portia is sharing this part because a lot of parents have to deal with this, and it's really hard. And there's no guidebooks, no handbooks, this kind of thing that people are just handed to figure out how to discuss this with young children. They don't understand it. Even when adults tell the children the real truth of what's going on, they still have a way of not fully understanding the gravity of it. So Portia having this conversation, I like that she opened up and she's having this conversation. And I think that a lot of parents should be able to seek out professional help, especially when you have the money and means to be able to do it, to have these conversations with these children in a way that they can help bring it to a level where they can understand. But I'm glad that Portia's having this conversation about little PJ. Now, mind you guys, PJ has a great relationship with her biological dad, Dennis. So, what PJ is asking, from my understanding in this scene, is PJ is asking about Simon. And I believe what Portia is saying is that she tried to text Simon, but Simon has not reached back out to her. And when parents divorce, even when it's not your biological child, when you have built a relationship with that child is now also going through this divorce as well. And so it's not their fault. And I know a lot of times it's hard for the parent who's out of the home, who's no longer with the child, to be able to have a conversation, with that child one-on-one, because he will still have to deal with Portia. And so it's hard for Simon. And even though people can say, well, he could have called her, he still is going to have some sort of conversation with Portia, and he's probably not ready to do that. Maybe legal counsel has advised him not to do it. We don't know the real of why Simon is not answering. We're only hearing Portia's side of it. But I do know that a lot of absentee parents have to deal with stuff like this, or absentee step parents have to deal with this. And until we hear both sides, I'm just going to leave it at maybe Simon wasn't able to have that conversation with little PJ. Remember, he's not her biological dad as well. All right, so Drew, it's time for Drew's scene, and she's on her way, I believe, to court with this divorce that's been pending for a while with her ex or soon to be ex-husband, Ralph. I want to say this about Drew. Drew, this season, we have been seeing is your bra. Now, Drew, I want to know, are you promoting these bras? Do you have a brand or a stake in these bras? Because all we have been seeing since episode 1 are your bras. What is with the bras? Are you like a paid person for these bras? Is somebody paying you to show these bras? What is going on with the bras? I'm just not understanding it. But she's on her way to court. Let's see what happens. So Drew mentions that Ralph is allegedly coming for her business accounts and her her businesses. And she's stating that she has two LLCs that she incorporated and that Ralph wants a certain percentage of each of those. And she's stating that this has really caught her off guard, Ralph coming for her businesses. She also stated that they had separate bank accounts and that she does not know how much Ralph makes. She has no idea of his money. And that's really interesting to me in a marriage where you've been married for so long and you both are, business minded people. It amazes me and shocks me as to why there's so much secrecy during the marriage when it comes to finances. That to me is a huge red flag in itself. But for her to state she does not know anything about his finances, except that she did say he does very well and he works very hard. Those are her words about Ralph. Drew says that Ralph does very well and he works very hard. So, but she said that, but she doesn't know what he makes. She doesn't know anything about his finances. But Ralph seems to know everything about Drew's stuff, even about the new business that she created. Somebody is doing their homework, but somebody is continuing to be caught off guard. Drew's word, she was caught off guard. Now, Drew's mom is saying that Ralph is not paying Drew child support. Ralph is not supporting these kids. But from my understanding, from what we're watching now, again, we don't know the backstory when the cameras are off, but from what we will see, I'm not sure that Ralph would be paying Drew child support when they're still living in the same home. And from my understanding, y'all let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. From my understanding, isn't Ralph paying for the home? I'm not sure who's paying for the utilities and that sort of thing and the food that comes in, but they're both living in the same home, taking care of the children together. Because remember the scene where Drew had to leave because she said it's Ralph's turn to be with the kids. And let me say this. I love that they do that they have to leave for certain weekends, which is not theirs. Like if it's Drew's weekend with the kids, Ralph has to leave the house. And if it's Ralph's weekend with the kids, Drew have to leave the house. But the kids don't have to leave. The kids will stay steady. I love that as far as parenting, because too many times these kids are with their backpacks and luggage going through this home and that home and this home and that home, and the kids have no stability when it wasn't even the kids' fault through this whole divorce. So I love that the kids get to stay in their home, in their rooms, in their neighborhood, with their friends, with their school. I love that they do that. And the parents are the ones that have to leave for the weekend. That, I love that. But as far as Ralph having to pay Drew child support, and they're still living in the home, I'm not sure why Drew's mom would think they have to do that. Of course, again, like I say, we don't know the backstory. We don't know what's going when the cameras are not on. But as long as they're both in the same house right now, I don't see why the judge would order either one of them to give money to the other person or vice versa, because they're still living in the same home. As long as the mortgage is paid, the utilities are paid, and food is still in the home, and automobiles are still paid, and gas is still in the car, all of that stuff. Kids need shoes, clothes, or whatever. Who's taking care of all of that? And if they're both doing it, they're both doing it. Now, when the one parent has to leave the home, then that would be a different story. But right now, while they are both still in the same home, I don't think he's obligated to pay child support. Now, wait, y'all. Drew said that Ralph locked her out the house. She said that Ralph put some security on the house and she could not get back in the house. And she said it was like 1 a.m. She had to go to a hotel. That's petty, Ralph. That is petty. Now, Ralph, if you did that, I think that's probably also illegal for him to lock her out of their own home that they both are supposed to legally be living in. I think that would be grounds for a lawsuit, a violation of court order that they both living at home. Drew, I would have sent that all straight to the lawyer. Let's see what happened, y'all. All right, so in this scene, Angela's mom comes to visit her, and they have a conversation about the home that Angela paid for her mom. And she said it was an honor for her to buy the home for her mom. She said it was about 400 and something. I think she said 490,000 or something like that. But the mom said she got the keys to her new home, and she's stating that she does not want Angela to, basically be responsible for taking care of her. I like that. That's grown stuff. I like that mom did that. And Angela and her mom are having this conversation, and it's great to see. And the mom is saying she wants to be self-reliant. She wants to rely on herself. And for her to have this conversation after Angela purchases home, I think part of what mom is saying is sometime when the siblings purchase a home for their parents, sometimes the parents don't feel like it's their own. And so even though the child gifts the house to their parent, it's just something about ownership of your own that brings that self-reliant that mom was talking about. So I'm enjoying this conversation with Angela and her mom. And Angela was basically saying also, she's like, well, it's kind of like, I guess it's like bittersweet, I guess. That Angela's like, I'm kind of happy because I don't have that responsibility anymore. And so it is a weight lifted off of her. But Angela is also going to have to adjust to that weight being lifted off of her, because when you get so used to taking care of your mom in that capacity of the home, you do get concerned when they do it on their own. So I'm sure Angela is still going to be in the bushes watching to make sure that her mom is taken care of. Okay, so Kelly is now taking her daughter out for driving lessons. And when I tell y'all, I like Kelly. Kelly to me is so cute. She's petite. She's so cute. I love the way she dresses. I love just her energy. And she's just like this cute little package deal. I love her relationship with her daughters as well. And she's just, to me, her energy is like really, really good. I don't think she's been problematic on the show. I think she's been one of these ladies that's really like a mediator for all the other ladies. That's in my opinion. I really like her. And let me tell y'all, I got to check out her restaurant. I got to check out the restaurant because the food looks like it's so good. It is, oh, y'all know I love some good food. When I do that review, I'll let y'all know. But let's see what's happening with Kelly as she takes her daughter out for this cute driving lesson. And Kelly, next time, girl, get your baby a little small scoot around car. This big old Cadillac, huge Cadillac, Escalade or whatever it is, this big old SUV truck is way too much truck, too much car for these babies to be learning how to drive in on their first episode. No, y'all go out and rent the little scoot around, ask your neighbor to borrow their little scoot around, give them a little money or something. But stop taking these babies out in these huge, big old cars to learn how to drive on their first driving lesson. Too much, Kelly. Too much, girl. Can I ask y'all a question? I know I'm not a fashionista because y'all see I got all this poof going on with this hair up here, right? This hair. But the little swoop, is that like something new? Is that a new style? What's with the little swoop on the forehead? Is that supposed to be cute? Let me not talk about Kelly's hair because Kelly is cute to me. Let me leave her alone because I got all this I got to deal with. I'm just concerned about the little swoop.
Stop. Teaching you driving is not for me.
You're so dramatic.
Y'all, can I be honest with y'all? Drew and this bra again. You are in your pajamas, girl, and you got this bra with your mama who's a minister sitting right across from you. What is with the bras, Drew? I'm tired of the bras. I mean, are you promoting? I don't even know the names of the bras. Drew, what is it gets to be where it's too much. Every scene, Drew, is too much. Too much. So Drew is having a conversation with her mom about her kids, and production keeps panning over to the entryway that goes down to the basement. I guess they're alluding that maybe Ralph may be listening to what the mom is saying. I want to say this. Drew did say that her mom had to get on a flight and come down there and spend some time with her because the mom was concerned. So the mom is saying that the kids are out of control and that the kids don't even listen to her. But the mom has to realize you're not in those kids' life on a daily basis. So those kids may not be used to or in the mindset of, okay, I got to do everything that grandma says. Grandma is new to this and they may not be used to her and as far as what her rules are and so forth. And the kids may be used to doing what these behaviors that they're doing. If they're running around, if they're jumping on this or jumping on that, it's not the first time that they've done it. They have to have been doing this before, and maybe Drew and Ralph allowed it. So maybe what Drew and Ralph allows, thank you, Holy Spirit, is probably not what the grandmother thinks their children should be doing. So to the grandmother, she's going to say that these children are unruly and they're wild and they're this and they're that. But the children, this is their normal behavior with their parents. So for the grandmother to come in and say, oh, you know, these kids are out of control and they're this and they're that. And then Drew sits and she's going to sit there and cry instead of being like, well, mom, tell me, what do you mean by unruly? Because, and I think Drew needs to put her chest up and have that conversation with her mom. Mom, wait, you're saying they're unruly. What do you define as unruly? What did they do that you would say they are unruly? I don't think you should be sitting there, Drew, crying like, you know, my goodness, my mom is saying all this about my kids and my kids are out of control and it's because of the divorce. No, it may not be because of the divorce. It may simply be that's how your kids have been all a while, all along. And maybe your mom is just seeing this side as she comes and visits you. Maybe she didn't see it before because she wasn't there. So Drew, and Drew wants to blame everything on this divorce instead of taking accountability for you are the mom, and kids will do what the parents allow them to do, what they get away with. Come on, Drew, girl, get it together. And then Drew's mom uses this line: when I can't control a kid, there's a problem. No, 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 mom. Chill out. Chill. First of all, grandma, these are not your kids. These are Drew and Ralph's kids. So you trying to control them is probably trying to change what they're accustomed to, what they're used to, and probably what you're not used to. So you may be trying to come into Drew's house and Ralph's house and change how they have been running that house. And maybe that's why the kids aren't really listening to you, because you're trying to change something that they're accustomed to. Just because she's Drew's mom doesn't mean that she can come in and run Drew's house. She is still a guest. Those kids live there. That's their home. And if they're used to being like that, it's not to say that they're unruly or they're wild or uncontrollable. Maybe that's the way Ralph and Drew has allowed them to be. See, and then Drew just told her mom as she's crying, she says, I didn't know that. I didn't know my kids are not the same. You wouldn't know, Drew, because you are used to your kids being that way. Your kids are used to being that way. So for your mom to come in and shed some light of what she views your kids doesn't mean that your kids have changed, Drew. It doesn't mean that. It just means that your mom is not used to seeing your kids that way. But it does not mean that your kids changed, Drew. It doesn't. That's your mom's perspective of her coming in after have been gone for I don't know how long. She's coming in and living in the house with them now, seeing their behavior. But it does not mean that the kids have changed because of the divorce. And they're getting older. As kids get older, thank you, Holy Spirit. As kids get older, kids' behaviors change. So they're not these little bitty itty bitty babies that they were before. They've gotten older. Even if it's a year older, they've still gotten older.
That she sees a change in my kids that's like my worst nightmare. They're kids. You know, they didn't ask to be in this position. They didn't ask for this. And I just feel like I'm failing them.
Mommy.
And yes, Drew is right. When kids, they do sense when something is going on. And Drew and Ralph are not telling the kids really basically what's happening. She don't want them to basically know. So Drew is right when she said the kids can sense something is going on, but also kids can see when there's a change in the relationship and the dynamics between their mom and their dad. You got Ralph in the basement and she's in the other room, and we don't know what's happening when the cameras are not rolling. Are there conversations? Are there arguments? Are there distractions? We don't know. But these kids, yeah, are dealing with stuff. But it does not mean that the kids are unruly. It does not mean that the kids are bad. It just means that they have a way of expressing how they feel and how they're dealing with something. But it does not mean that they are bad children and they're unruly children. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. That her mom has to understand that Drew and Ralph have been raising these children and giving them their freedom and their way of living. And it may not be the same that the mom sees fit, but it doesn't mean that the children are bad. All right, so Porsha and Shamea are sitting down for this long-awaited conversation. Let's see how this goes. Did y'all see those jeans that Shamea had on? Girl, girl. Okay. Okay, so the ladies get to the table and they're sitting down, and Portia tells the waitress that the table is a little small, and it was quite small. I don't like going into a restaurant. You got the little teeny table. I want to order a lot of food, but anyway, Portia asks the waitress for a chair so that they can put their bags in the chair. So then they get ready to have the conversation, and Portia's phone starts ringing, and she answers, but she did say, "I gotta call you back." But look at Shamea's face. Shamea's like, "Really, girl? You should have had your phone on silent from the moment we came in." There go Portia again, girl. Let's watch. Y'all, this conversation is awkward even for me. I mean, Shamea's like, listen, you had your event. What's been going on? So it's awkward for me. I can just imagine what these ladies are going through. It's hard, especially, the cameras are right there and they're recording everything that you say and you in your feelings. Ooh.
First, let me just apologize for maybe not being as open about my feelings over the years. There's been things.
So while the ladies are talking, Portia takes a deep breath while Shamea is in the middle of her saying that how she feels about the relationship. Like she feels as though Portia talks over her. She feels as though Portia posts things about her and she wants to be able to express how she feels. And in the middle of Shamea trying to tell her friend, her bestie, how she really feels, Portia takes this deep breath and lets it out. And then, Shamea's right. Shamea's like, what? Am I boring you? And Portia stating it's just a lot. It's a lot for her to have to take in. That again is making Shamea feel as though you're my friend, but I can't tell you my real feelings. And this friendship, I don't know, y'all. I don't know if this friendship is doomed or what. But I will say this. It is good when two friends, even though they've had problems, that they're able to come sit at the table and talk about those problems, because a lot of times they could be able to resolve whatever the situation is that's going on between the two of them if both have a listening ear to listen to one another and a heartfelt intention to resolve the problems. But that's got to come from both sides, not just one. Now, Shamia asked a valid question. She asked Portia, why can't we be the friends that we are off camera, on camera? And she made a shocking statement. Shamia said that Portia was like, oh, they're going to have to pay me more money for that. Why would producers have to pay you more money to be real, to be who you really are? So, Portia, by you making that statement, if she made the statement, because Shamia said it, we don't have anything verified that Portia actually said that. But if that is true, then what Portia is really saying by making a statement like that would be, I'm not going to be real for these cameras. I'm only going to give them fakeness. Shamia is absolutely right. And I don't know if anybody else caught that who've been watching this and reviewing, but if someone says, why can't we be our real selves when we're on these cameras? Why can't we be real the same way we are off camera? Why can't we do that on camera? And if another person's like, they're going to have to pay me more money for that, then basically what Portia is letting us know is if she said it, she's not giving us real, and she's not going to give us real. Everything that we have been seeing now makes my mind think everything has been has been false, has been fraud. And Shamia wants to be real. Shamia wants the real. It's an interesting conversation. What y'all think? Let me know y'all thoughts. Portia is like, listen, this is a time when I need my friend. I don't need you to be coming at me for something that happened 10 years ago. I need my friend right now. Basically, she's saying I'm going through stuff and I need my friend. But Portia, you have to understand, you're not the only one that's in need of something. You're not the only one that's going through something. What about what Shamia is going through? What about her needing her friend? It can't always be one-sided. And it sounds to me, thank you, Holy Spirit, it sounds to me like a lot of this relationship between Portia and Shamia has been one-sided. It's been Shamia always being there for Portia and for Portia only being there for Shamia when it's convenient for Portia. And I think Shamia has gotten to the point where she's realizing this. And that's not a true friendship. You can't have a friendship just for convenience. You got to be real. And if Shamia is feeling like and realizing that Porsha has not been that real person for her, now Portia's going to have to realize that. But somebody needs to sit down and have a real conversation with Porsha to say, listen, girl, this is seeming to be one sided. And I think that's what all the ladies were trying to tell Porsha and Shamia, that the relationship has not been equal. But Portia has to realize that. Yes, Portia, we all know that you're going through something. We all see it from what we see. I'm sure Shamia may know a little bit more than all of us, but you, Portia, have to realize that Shamia is going through some stuff too. And you have to be there for her, not when it's just convenient for you. Like when she said Portia didn't even show up to her wedding, didn't go to her wedding. And Portia's like, well, I had this to do, I had that. This is this girl's wedding. Y'all are besties. So it's been one sided unless it's been convenient in my eyes, unless it's been convenient allegedly for Portia. Portia is not there for Shamia. And that's draining and that's not fair. And something needs to change. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be this whole friendship that's going to suffer.
I want the Porsche that's not on camera. I mean, it's not news. I'm a new peach holder. This is uncharted territory for both of us. Like, it's always her on the camera. But now that I'm able to share, it don't feel good.
And then Portia goes into what a lot of us may see as theatrics. Portia, you are not the only one suffering. So Shamia's at the table still trying to talk to her about this whole thing. And then Portia's like, Shamia, please, please, please stop. And Shamia's like, I don't even know what I've done to make you even feel, this way. Again, to me, my opinion, my thoughts, it just felt a little theatrical. The oh my god, oh me, and the walking off. It just, to me, it feels a little theatrical. And it also feels in real life, it feels like Portia does not like facing reality when it comes at her to show her wrong. She does not want to face it. And it seems as though, to me, my opinion, my thoughts, allegedly, that when Portia is being confronted with the wrong that she does, instead of her sitting in that seat and finding a way to fix it, she goes and tries to get the sympathy of the viewers, draws the tears, and then walks away. Remember, she did the same scene with Angela, was talking to her after they finished playing tennis or pickleball or whatever it was they were playing. Angela was having a conversation with Portia, and Portia did the same thing. She went into the tears and wanted to walk off. So Portia has been doing these same moves throughout this season. She gets upset, she walks off, she starts crying, she walks off. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good idea to walk off. Sometimes it is best to walk off. But then you should come back after you gathered yourself and have a conversation with the person, because it's not going to change the conversation because you walked off. Shamia deserves to be heard, and Portia, you deserve to sit in the seat so that she can hear you. But I think this is one of the things that Portia wants to do off camera, because in a way she don't want to be held accountable. And I think Portia felt as though this season she was going to be the it girl, the head girl on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she's finding out that she's not the head girl over here. Right now, she's not. And maybe that's taking away from a little bit of her pride and her ego, but she's got to learn how to share. And Portia could have still be the it girl on Housewives of Atlanta. She could have still been that number one girl had she handled things differently. Had she welcomed her friend, had she celebrated her friend Shamia, had she uplifted her friend Shamia, she could still have been the girl that everybody looked at and like, Portia's that friend that we all want. But the way she handled this whole thing with Shamia coming on set, and her even saying at this dinner setting that, oh, she changed, Shamia's changed since she's been on camera, since she's been filming. Portia to even say that, it screams jealousy. It screams, I still want to be number one. I don't want my friend to be number one. That's what it screams. And it also screams insecurity. And so Portia has to learn that these are things that she has to deal with in her own life. When you cannot, thank you, Holy Spirit, when you cannot celebrate your friend, then there's a problem with you, not your friend. And then here's what Porsha does. After she goes in the restroom, she talks to herself, you're okay, you're okay. And she comes back. And the mantra is good for people that need it. It's good. It helps you to gather yourself by telling yourself, you're okay, you're going to get through this. But then she comes back to the table and she deliberately is insulting Shamea, in my thought, by saying, oh, okay, so you want to get our food to go? Not like, hey, Shamea, I'm sorry. I had to gather myself. I had to clear my thoughts. I'm here for you, friend. Let's continue this conversation. No, it's as though, okay, I left when the moment was heated and I got up from this table and I cried and I'm walking to the bathroom because I wanted to cut this conversation off. I did not want to continue to have this conversation. Now I'm going to come back to this table and I'm going to totally shut this conversation down. You are still being dismissive of Shamea's feelings and her willingness to work this relationship out. You cannot always cut stuff and just cancel it and think that it's going to make things better. You got to deal with stuff, Porsha. You got to handle situations. You can't just stop stuff and think that it's going to be okay. How do you think Shamea feels? Now, if Shamea was to get up from the table, walk away and start crying and come back and be dismissive to Porsha, how would you feel if she gave you the same antidote that you've given her?
I'm just trying to do the best I can. That's all.
And I think we both feel that way because I think we all have things going on in our lives. We both do.
Right.
Often I mask my feelings because I want to handle our friendship with care because I know you often are in a fragile phase. I don't want to upset you or bring you more grief, more drama.
Right. Now, Shamea's telling her, I want you to treat me basically in so many words. Shamea saying, Porsha, I understand what you're going through. I'm sympathetic, empathetic for you as well, but I want you to have the same feelings for me. She used the words, I want you to share the same bandwidth. She's opening up and telling Porsha, listen, Porsha, I want to be there for you, but I cannot always have my energy to be there for you and get emptied because I'm giving to you. And you, Porsha, are not helping to refill Shamea. She can't always be coming to you and emptying out everything that she has and you not helping her to get refueled. It's not fair. It's a one-sided relationship. And so many people deal with this type of toxicity in relationships. It's just sad that it happens. But a lot of friendships can grow from watching scenes like this and realizing that maybe your friend was handling you that same way. And maybe you need to really think, is this beneficial to you as well? Girl. Shamea's pouring out her heart to you, and here go Porsha trying to direct this narrative of the conversation by moving the silverware on the table, clinkety, 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 clank, to make noise. And this is what people do who only want the attention on them. They will find any little small thing that would distract and take away from what their accuser is saying about them or the other person is saying about them to stop them from communicating. But what Shamea needs to learn how to do is grab them silverware, whatever it is that Porsha is trying to distract. You need to grab that, put it aside, and continue on with your conversation. Shamea, stop closing down. Stop shutting down when Porsha does these little tactics. You need to learn how to keep control of the conversation, because Porsha knows you well enough to know if I can distract her a little bit and stop her from speaking, then I can go ahead and start speaking and say what I want and cut off everything else that Shamea wants to say. Shamea, you need to learn how to stop those tactics from happening. When next time, if y'all at the table and she starts shuffling over with silverware or whatever, just grab the silverware, push it aside, and continue talking the whole time. Don't be like, and not say anything. Continue talking, Shamea, because these are tactics that Porsha is doing to stop you. And it's working. It's working just fine, because what happened? Porsha ruffled the little silverware and Shamea stopped talking. And then Porsha went on to trying to say what she wanted to say, basically taking control of the conversation again. Girl, these are tactics. Learn from them, Shamea. And then to me, it feels as though Porsha is being dismissive when Shamea is like, excuse me, like, this is the way I feel. And I want you to do this, want you to do that, want you to do that. And then Porsha like, okay, got it. Okay, got it. To me, it's like dismissive again. Girl, where's your heartfelt feeling, Porsha, for your friend? Porsha, does Porsha not like when she is being disciplined, when she is being corrected, What is her zodiac sign? Does she not like correction? Because there's some of us out here that love correction because correction helps you to be a better person. But when you put down correction and you don't like it, it just helps you to continue to be that same bitter Betty that you've been. And it's sad, so sad, so sad. And here they go. Portia's crying again. Shamia starts to tear up again. And Portia goes to say she's sorry. But here's the thing, Portia, I don't even know if you heard anything that Shamia was saying. I don't think she heartfelt heard anything that Shamia was saying. And then here's what Portia does. She says, give me your hands. And then Shamia hands her hands and they hold hands. And Shamia is like, okay. And Portia's like, we got this. We got this. Okay. Again, Portia is controlling the conversation. Again, I really don't think that Portia really understands the heart of what Shamia was saying. I think Portia is like, hey, we're just going to ease over this. We're just going to try and move forward. But when you don't know what you're moving forward with or how you're moving forward, then Shamia will continue to get hurt. But we're going to pray that Portia does here, and maybe they'll have another conversation off camera that can be more concise and more clear to what Shamia was really saying. And maybe Portia will change. But the problem is people like Portia often don't change. This is just who they are. You either love them or you hate them. You either stay or you leave. This is how these particular people are. And I'm not saying that Portia is a bad person. It's just the type of personality that they are. This is a lot of times who individuals are. And it's very hard to change who you are. So you got to find your tribe of people that enjoy being around this type of atmosphere. It's not that she's a bad person, you guys. I'm not saying she's a bad person, but this is just her brand of who she is. And unfortunately, people like Shamia and others that come in contact with Portia will oftentimes have to deal with this, and they themselves get hurt in the process. But it's very hard to change someone's habits when it's their real life. And I think that's what part of what's going on with Portia.
I don't like it. Like, cause who am I gonna call?
And whose butt is
That is
that?
somebody else. God, I let it out for you today.
So good. Oh my God.
All right, so Shamia and Portia leave the restaurant and they seem to be on good terms. And Portia and Shamia still are going to have a conversation after. Now, Portia did tell Shamia she does still want to have a conversation with her, but just the two of them. She wants it to just be a one-on-one. And Shamia and Portia, they've got a long road to go. And Shamia says that she feels as though she was her. So we're going to see. Listen, there's more episodes to come, and we're going to be talking about that here. Now, let me do my closing thoughts on this whole thing. Family life and everything. This is what I think a lot of these reality shows are showing us. And a lot of the situations and things that happen in their personal lives, a lot of people can relate to their own lives, what happened in their own lives, like Angela with her sister and her mom arguing with her husband, and Kelly going through her divorce and still having to be the mother of her four beautiful girls, holding down businesses and restaurants and all that. Portia going through a divorce, having to raise her baby girl and having to still deal with divorce and businesses and all of that. Shamia having to deal with friendship and realizing that sometimes a friendship isn't always what you thought it was, and having to deal with that as well. And then you've got also Drew having to deal with her divorce and her children and her family and all of them being involved, trying to assist her in this whole process. This is what these reality shows really should be sharing with us, how they handle it, because so many people in the real life are dealing with a lot of these real life situations. Well, I hope you have enjoyed my whole conversation on this Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 episode 11. If you have enjoyed this, I would ask that you please become a subscriber of my channel, and also click a thumbs up on this video and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Now remember, if you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that today. I would really appreciate it. I'll be running another video on this, and I'll see y'all on that very next one. Y'all stay safe, loving, and kind out there. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section, all right? Appreciate y'all for watching. Have a great day.